Don't you wish your khaki shorts were legitimately comfortable instead of stiff cotton? Try Bird Dogs. Bird Dogs stretch khaki shorts look like khaki shorts but feel like gym shorts. They have it all. Anti-stink, sweat-wicking fabric, a super comfortable built-in liner, and zipper pockets to keep everything secure. It's time to swap your old school khakis for Bird Dogs. Go to birddogs.com/MLB and enter promo code BASEBALL for a free baseball hat with your order. That's birddogs.com/MLB, promo code BASEBALL for a free hat. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off, we promise you.
Walk the dogs, school drop-off, meetings from 10 to 3, take kids to soccer, then no time left for a jog.
When everyone else is relying on you, it's easy to put your needs last. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist online, so you can show up for yourself the way you do for others. Visit BetterHelp.com/positive to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/positive.
Our thanks to Kim Carter and congratulations to her on the induction for the Wichita Sports Hall of Fame. If you missed that interview or any of our interviews in hour number 1 with Tim Fitzgerald from GoPowerCat.com or Chelsea Messenger, our Odyssey Sports Betting Insider, you can always go online to KFHradio.com or on the free Odyssey app and be able to hear those back, listen to the entire interview right there again. That's at KFHradio.com or on the free Odyssey app. Paul, Odyssey and KEYN bring you Concerts in the Park, sponsored by IHOP. It's free live music Friday from 8 to 10 p.m. in Andover Central Park at the Capitol Federal Amphitheater, 1607 East Central Avenue in Andover. This Friday, the Lou Brown Band. You can bring your lawn chairs, your blankets, extra cash for the food trucks. No coolers are allowed, but the gates open at 6:30 p.m. That's going to be tomorrow night, the Lou Brown Band at the Capitol Federal Amphitheater. Don't know how much time, if any, you've spent out there at the Capitol Federal Amphitheater, Paul. I live right down the road from the amphitheater in Andover. It's a cool venue, and that Free Music Friday, the Concerts in the Park, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I've never been to it, but I look forward to it. As a matter of fact, our Shakespeare in the Park, I believe it's next week. We also have a production that we will do in the park. Much to Do About Nothing. Will play in the amphitheater there at Andale. So, yeah, I'll be in it. I'll actually perform in it here in the next week or so.
All right.
Yeah.
And I've been there. I really enjoy that particular park space that they've got there. I went to I think it was the second ever Taco Fest because the first one they'd held in Union Station here in Wichita, and they didn't have nearly enough room, and it was perfect that next year when they held it at in Andover, and that's happening this Saturday this year. So
wow, a lot going on
Very
at the
cool.
amphitheater in Andale or Andover. I mean, wow.
Andover. It's such a fun venue, such a cool place. We take our son there to the park, which is right next to the amphitheater, quite a bit. Go out there. It's brand new. I think within the last year or two that park area is. And I'm super grateful, by the way, that, and I know Jacob and I discussed it the other day, that it wasn't damaged in the Andover tornado last year, because it's such a cool place for families and people to hang out down there. So, sounds like a lot going on there at the amphitheater starting tomorrow night, the Free Music Friday, Concerts in the Park. And then, a lot of other things going on down there.
Just real quick, this Sunday is when we perform in. Now, you don't have a reason not to, walk a half a block down to the theater and come to Much Ado About Nothing and see me as Antonio, for guys' sakes, okay? There's no reason. This Sunday, Tommy Castor is going to be at that performance. I don't know what he's going to do with his kid. Bring your kids. What the heck?
I think, Paul, if I do that, would there be anything stopping me from bringing tomatoes to throw on the stage?
Not a thing. Not a single thing. And you'll be sitting close enough to the stage, I'm sure you'll get a couple of hits.
Well, I might have to do that. I think that would be a fun way to enjoy a little bit of Shakespeare, to throw some tomatoes up on the stage.
Go.
No, I'd never do that. I'm more respectful of the theater than that. So,
well, anyway,
Jay, do we have Jay Delling on the line? I'm not sure if we've got him ready to go.
Not yet.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So Jay Delling, Wichita Open, we've got him scheduled. We'll track him down to have him join the show here in just a little bit to talk about day number 1 of the Wichita Open. Paul, speaking of the Wichita Open, How locked in do you get to that tournament? Do you go out and enjoy the festivities at all? Have you been there before?
Oh, gosh,
your
yes.
thoughts on what that tournament brings to Wichita?
Let me tell you, I used to have a tradition. I probably stopped about 10 or 15 years ago, but there was a time, probably for the first 10, 15 tournaments that they would have, I'd make a point of going on Sunday. And I always bring an old golf club with me. I'd always go to like a thrift store and I'd find a really nice, high-quality driver. Usually I'd try to get a number one driver. And then I would take it out with a pen and have the winner, after he won the tournament, sign my driver. Somewhere in my storage area, I probably got 10, 15 drivers with the champions from the Wichita Open in my garage. I don't know where they are. I haven't seen them for a long time. But yeah, it's always a lot of fun because who's going to be the next star? I mean, we've seen some of these guys go on to do some really great things on the tour, and it's been a lot of fun. So to see who's going to be the next big star. And, of course, Wichita for itself. I mean, even if you look at the U.S. Open, we got Sam Stevens, who you and I interviewed. I believe it was Friday. Last Friday. We interviewed him. And he's playing in the U.S. Open. What a great history Wichita has. And let me tell you, this Wichita Open has become a great part of the history of Wichita golf. It's really cool. And it's a great place to go. I mean, Crestview is an easy walk. It's very conducive to watching golf. And I enjoy it a lot, Tommy.
Let's get you a quick update on the U.S. Open, by the way, which
please.
just teed off a little bit ago. Jacob Solomon is tied for the lead with Omar Morales and also Dylan Wu at 2 under par. A couple of other notable golfers that are under par right now include Francisco Molinari at 1 under, Kevin Streelman at 1 under, Ricky Fowler is also 1 under. A lot of golfers still yet to tee off because obviously it's on the West Coast. So it's 10:30 right now.
Right.
Be 8:30 out on the West Coast. So things are just kind of getting underway there for day number 1 of the U.S. Open. Looks like we do have Jay Delling here on the line to talk Wichita Open golf with us. Jay, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, guys. How's it going?
It's going great. You guys got really, really good weather, it looks like, to kick off day number 1 of the Wichita Open out at Crestview Country Club. How are things going out there? I know there's been a lot of preparation and getting everything ready to go for the huge event out at Crestview. How do things look right now?
Things are great. I heard you were in charge of the weather this year, so thank you for a great start on a Thursday. We never like to get behind on a Thursday, so no, the weather is just perfect. The wind is down. The sun is shining. First balls were in the air at 6:55 this morning. We are off and running. The golf course looks amazing. People are already out on the course, heading down to number 17, which I may follow them at some point today.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to get into the nuts and bolts of like the leaderboard and who some of the notable players and all of that we've got in the field this weekend. But before we get into that, I want to ask you first off, I know that there's a brand new tournament director, Dusty Buell. I've known Dusty for years. Great guy. And he's really doing some things, it looks like, to push the envelope and move things forward in this event that has been a lot of fun for a number of years under Roy Turner. But I know that there are some new elements to the Open, the fan zone, and then some upgraded amenities on 17. Walk everybody through, if they go out to the Open this weekend, some of the new things they can expect.
Yeah, the fan zone is new, so I encourage everybody that walks through the Welcome Center. All they have to do is keep walking. There's just a lot of new things for the fans this year. It's just not about golf. It's about fun. It's about getting people involved in our tournament. And oh, by the way, there's golf going on, kind of a thing. So it really is a social event out here, and we encourage people to come out. And whether we get a lot of people out here that aren't really golfers, but they like to come out here. The socialization is good. Obviously, 17 speaks for itself, but you've got 80 acres out here at your beck and call. and you can literally go almost anywhere you want. You can follow groups you don't know about. I encourage everybody to come in and get a T-sheet, which we have in the welcome centers. You come in. If you've got somebody specific that you want to follow, we've got some local flavor this year that we're excited about. So a lot of fun things going on.
Well, give our listeners something to sort of look at and maybe give a comparison to. What's it going to take, in your opinion, the way the course is playing? Because you've seen the course, you've probably talked to some of the guys who have played some practice rounds and that kind of thing. What's the score going to take to make the cut? And I'm going to put a little pressure on you. What's it going to take to win the tournament?
Paul, typically it takes about 18 to 20 under to win in Wichita, and that's what I said last year. But some guy named Norman Song shows up and shoots 26 under to break all kinds of scoring records. He actually double bogeyed the last hole. He was at 28 under, finished at 26 under, still won the tournament by 5 shots. I am totally convinced that if you were on the 18th tee, the 72nd hole, with a 7-shot lead, I am confident you would bring it home.
Well, geez, thank you for that one.
That's a lot of optimism, Jay. I don't know if I would go quite that far, but I get what you're saying. As far as the field is concerned, Jay, you mentioned the defending champion Norman Song, who won last year, is back in the field this year. It's so much fun for me over the years that I've been out at the tournament and followed along to then follow some of these guys as they make it on the PGA Tour. And I can think of a handful of names, a lot of guys that have been in the field before. Colin Morikawa's been in the field, and Bubba Watson's been in the field. And I know I'm missing a lot of other players, but there have been really, really notable PGA Tour professionals that have played in the Wichita Open. So are there some other notable names in the field this year, or other guys that you look at and you think, keep your eyes on that guy because he might end up making a run in the PGA?
Right. So just FYI, Norman Song is out on the golf course right now. He's tied for 5th. Okay. He's at 4 under. So he's making a charge on Thursday. This tour is so interesting because back in 1990, we had no idea who Tom Lehman was. But he wins our event and ultimately becomes number 1 in the world for about a cup of coffee. It was a short period of time, but he did. Players like David Duval, right? David Toms, Jason Duffner, all these players have won major championships on the PGA Tour. We didn't really know who they were when they were in Wichita. So it's kind of hard to pick. Although here's my take now. College golf has brought an element to this tour that we've never seen before. If you remember about 3 years ago, speaking of Colin Morikawa, which between his freshman and sophomore year back in 2016 competed here in Wichita and actually lost in a 3-way playoff to win the championship. Ollie Schneiderjans won that year. So, here's a 19-year-old kid on arguably the second best tour in the world, right? I mean, just a 19-year-old kid. When him and Matthew Wolff and Victor Hovland came out on tour 3 years ago, they went right from college to actually the PGA Tour and won within that first season. So these players that are coming out of college, we have 7 of the top 10 players in college golf this last year that are in the field this week. And so these are guys that I'm watching. There's a player named Adrien Dumont Deschartres who 2 weeks ago was playing college golf. His pro debut was at the BMW on the Korn Ferry Tour last week. He not only entered the tournament, he won it.
Oh.
It's unheard of, right? These players coming to college, they are absolutely fearless. There's not a pin that they don't go after. They just have this green light mentality where, if you talk to the veterans on the PGA Tour, they'll tell you, okay, certain pins you don't want to go for the middle of the green. These kids are fearless. They're going for every pin, and it's really a lot of fun to watch.
I've got a question about the golf course again, if you don't mind. What has Crestview done to sort of trick this thing up, make it more difficult? Do they do anything in particular that you know of to make this a more challenging course for some of these guys? Because these guys are shooting the heck out of these scores. And what does the course do on a normal basis to make it more difficult?
Well, what we did, it's been several years ago. When you want to make a golf course a little bit harder, you go take some of the par fives and turn them into par fours. And so here at Crestview for the members, it's a par 72. But number 6 and number 18, which are usually par fives, we turn them into par fours during Wichita Open Week. And so, again, instead of having a par 72, we have a par 70. And these holes are really easy as par fives, but they're really hard as par fours. There's not much more that we can do to make the golf course harder. Yeah, we could grow some rough, but you know what? Here on the Korn Ferry Tour, we don't want to put any man-made obstacles in their way. We want them to score. We want them to have that confidence, so that when they get on the PGA Tour, again, they maintain that no fear mentality.
Well, I can tell you, Crestview's my course, and typically my score goes up, quite a bit, when the month of May and June rolls around and that rough gets a little bit longer and the greens get a little bit faster. Of course, I'm nowhere near as good as these guys who are on the Korn Ferry Tour. Jay, I could talk to you for hours about this tournament and the Korn Ferry Tour and golf in general. There's one other question that I have for you, and I know that I'll have you back on tomorrow to give you an update, have you give an update on the Friday rounds and all of that. But one of the things that has always really piqued my attention with the Korn Ferry Tour in general is, and maybe I'm wrong in the terminology of it, I think it's called the battlefield promotion. Is that what it's called? Where a player wins multiple times on the Korn Ferry Tour and they're immediately promoted back up to the PGA. They don't have to wait around. They don't have to try to, qualify or whatever. They literally win a certain number of events and then they automatically get to go to the PGA Tour. I would imagine that probably plays into that mentality that you were just talking about with the kids being fearless and going after all these pins and trying to score because they want to make it to the PGA Tour as quickly as possible. That's always been one of the most fascinating things that I look at on the Korn Ferry.
Yeah, absolutely. So typically when you win an event here on the Korn Ferry Tour, you are exempt for the rest of this year and then all of next year. If you win 3 events in the same calendar year, you are promoted to the PGA Tour. So, for example, if you had won 2 events previous to Wichita and just so happened to win Wichita, you are in the PGA Tour event next week. It's that immediate.
That's cool. That's awesome. I mean, that's, definitely shows just that, the attitude and the fearlessness that you were just talking about. Jay, I know you mentioned the defending champion is 4 under right now. Any other leaderboard updates before we let you go or anything that we need to be looking at as day number 1 of the Wichita Open rolls on?
Yeah, well, lots of low numbers. Jimmy Stanger, who is projected to finish 5th after this week on the points list, is our leader at 7 under par through 14 holes. Kyle Jones is a shot back at 6 under. Spencer Levine, who has played the PGA Tour for several years, is at 5 under, just 2 shots back. Clay Fegler is 5 under. There's an interesting young man. I'm trying to go through the leaderboard here. Michael Fiegels, who's at 3 under, so he's 4 shots back. He shot 59 earlier this year. So it just shows you talent on this tour because you don't see 59s every week, every year. I think there's just been maybe a little more than a handful of 59s on this tour in the 34-year history. So these guys can flat out play, no doubt.
Well, one more thing before we let you go real quick. I want you to give everybody an update on some of the local flavor in this tournament. We know that Cooper Schultz, who's a Crestview member and a local kid from Andover Central and K-State, he qualified, so he's in the field. Give everybody an idea on some of the local flavor in this tournament.
Yeah, so Cooper Schultz, he'll be entering his junior year at K-State. He teed off at just about 9 o'clock this morning. I think he's even par through his first 4 or 5 holes. Dodge Kimmer, who was a high school standout here in the Wichita area, played at Stanford. I think he's 2 under early in his round. So a couple of guys off to fairly decent starts, guys to watch. But they're going to have to make birdies. They're going to have to make them fast, and they're going to have to make a lot of them.
All right. Well, it's always a ton of fun. And, of course, we are just beginning day number 1 of the Wichita Open out at Crestview Country Club. Jay, appreciate your time. Have a great first day, and we'll talk to you and check in again tomorrow on the updates on the leaderboard.
You got it. Looking forward to it. Hey, have a great day, guys.
All right. Thank you so much. That's Jay Delling. He's going to be talking with us again tomorrow for day number 2 of the Wichita Open. And man, I would just encourage anybody listening, if you've got a couple of free hours, to go out there, check out the Wichita Open. Everybody talks about the 17th green. It's a lot of fun, but it's not just that. I've loved just going and walking the course, following golfers, getting a chance to check out some of these young guys that are trying to make a charge and make it to the big time, the PGA Tour. So it's always a lot of fun. Day number 1 of the Wichita Open out at Crestview Country Club. We're going to take a break, come back. Our final full segment is on the way next. Tommy Castor, Paul Savage, and Jad Chambers producing. It's Sports Daily on KFH.
What you watch depends on what kind of mood you're in. Sometimes you're craving comedies like Friends or South Park, and sometimes you're more into dramas like HBO's Succession and House of the Dragon. There's also cooking shows like Chopped and Beat Bobby Flay, and even movies like The Lord of the Rings and Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Well, Max is the streaming destination that has the best of entertainment for whatever mood you're in anytime. And plans start at as little as $9.99 a month. Max, the one to watch. Subscription required. Visit max.com.
Looking for an adventure? Find yours in a Toyota. Like a Camry with stylish design and a reputation for reliability that can't be beat. Or go with a Corolla, both affordable and capable. With so many trims and features to choose from. Or check out the new Crown, presenting you with luxurious style and elegant amenities to make your day a breeze. No matter your adventure, Toyota has you covered. Visit buyatoyota.com for more. Toyota, let's go places.
Nationals baseball is in full swing.
Strike 3 called. He got him looking. That's 10 strikeouts for Mackenzie Gore.
With the free Odyssey app, local fans can listen live all summer long, whether you're at the grill or at the pool.
Going, and gone. Goodbye. C.J. Abrams, a grand slam.
Nationals baseball. Nationals announcer streaming live on the free Odyssey app. AUDACY. Get in the game and download it today.